Hello and welcome to the Cryptonaut podcast. I'm Mark Storrs and with me is...
I'm Chris.
And...
Rob Morphy.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode. Real quick, top of the show, be sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes. Leave us a rating and a review. As we mentioned in previous pods, if you do leave us a rating and a review, we will read your review online. And boys, we got some reviews.
Oh,
we
man.
do.
Okay, what if we get like 150? How are we going to read them all?
We'll have to have
one pod just reading reviews.
solely dedicated
Don't make lies.
to review.
Don't make lies.
Until we get overwhelmed, we'll keep reading your reviews. So here we go. This is from Adija.
I don't know.
I don't know. I asked the guys
Spell
how to
it.
pronounce this. ADGIA.
Okay.
So it works.
Adgia.
So they say fun pod, 5-star review. Hey you, yeah you. Do yourself a favor and listen to these guys.
Well, God bless you.
Thank you very much. Good
you.
review. Excellent review. The next review comes to us from Swaggy YOLO Swag 69 Turtle Beach.
Sweet baby cheeses.
On the birth certificate.
And they say great audio quality. So there you go. Thank you for your ratings and
You're
your
welcome.
reviews.
That's
welcome.
all we really try for.
Yeah.
Content,
totally.
no. Great audio quality, fucking A.
Exactly.
And remember, too, you can leave the ratings and reviews right in your iOS app. It's super simple. If you're already listening to this on your phone, you can just, as you're listening to this, click it. Leave your ratings and reviews. Do that. Be sure to check us out on social medias. Go to cryptonautpodcast.com. That will link you to all of our accounts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. The show is available on YouTube, and there's a couple other spots coming up. We're going to have it in a few, but this week.
Man, what's this week?
Something kind of fun. This is one that kind of went under the radar a little bit for me until Rob brought it up here. And, one second here. I'm just gonna.
Well, it's pretty obscure, in all fairness.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like what I love, and we've talked about this before, and if this is the first Cryptonaut podcast you're listening to, then you'll hear it again, which is the weirder, the better. And so I really gravitate towards really obscure reports and old 70s paperbacks and, MUFON notes from, dating back to God knows when. And we have a lot of very antiquated reports. This one is not quite as old. It's the 1960s, but it's awesome. Yeah. And like so many of them, it's one of a kind.
And we're not going to necessarily do a Sasquatch just yet, but we are going to do the Octo-Squatch.
Boom.
Oh, here we go. So it starts off here. Late at night, on a desolate stretch of mountainous Spanish road, a pair of truckers had a confrontation with one of the most bizarre beasts ever reported.
Scientific facts.
Scientific facts. There you have it.
All right, so I'll give you guys the breakdown. During the summer of 61, at approximately 11 p.m., a 29-year-old truck driver by the name of Archimedes Sanchez.
Oh, God.
Which, by the way, is one of the best names ever.
Archimedes.
Great name.
That is phenomenal. His parents deserve mad kudos.
Sounds like
that.
he's going on an adventure.
Oh, well, he is.
Yeah.
Clearly, in the mountains of Spain.
With the Octo-Squatch.
So Archimedes Sanchez and an unnamed riding partner were negotiating the steep, fog-shrouded roads that wound their way over the treacherous. I've got some name city, fucking Brady. The treacherous Basque Mountains nestled in the northern Spanish province of Vizcaya. We got the geography down. It's a route that Sanchez had traveled many times before, but on this fateful eve, he and his partner would encounter something they would never forget. The duo were nearing Puerto de Barazar. I'm sorry, Barazar. Help me out. Someone, Mark, you try.
Barazar.
All right, so we're getting close.
Puerto de Barazar.
Obviously monolingual. No doubt eager to unload their haul and call it a night when their high beams illuminated a fantastic creature at the base of a sharp embankment on the opposite side of the road. Sanchez slammed on the brakes, and he and his coworker stared in stunned silence at the inexplicable entity frozen before them. Sanchez would later describe this unclassified anomaly as a hairy octopus.
Yeah,
Yeah. So right there, it's on a mountain.
No.
The Basque Mountains, to be specific.
So you don't want to hear the words hairy and octopus in the same sentence?
It seems like something went terribly wrong when that happens.
Well, it's bad enough in the water if it's just like, dude, I saw an octopus, but it was like hairy.
They had like sweet slash hair. Like you don't want to hear that.
What? Top of that?
Yeah,
Did you show your picture of slash hair?
Yeah,
for that?
I think we hear
That is not what I was
imagining. Slash hair.
I was imagining more a cross of Sigmund the Sea Monster from the old Sid and Marty Krofft and Cousin It.
Okay, so I went
something like that.
So I
no.
basically went for an octopus wearing a slash hat, slash hair and glasses,
So he had
smoking
a
a
nice,
cigarette.
like a nice tight black
No,
perm.
I
Yeah,
pictured like an octopus meets Snuffleupagus.
Okay, yeah, well, I have a imagination, so there you go.
That's solid.
But you know what? I
Slash.
like what you guys are going for. It sounds way cooler than the slashtopus. So,
All right, so let's get to more of the specifics here. This hairy octopus was approximately 3 to 4 feet tall and covered with a shaggy coat of rust-colored hair.
okay, now I'm getting more of a visual in my mind. All right.
3 to 4 feet. That's not a lot. That's not a lot for an octopus.
No, it's not. Well, it depends on the octopus. I mean, there's some very tiny octopi.
So it's
and all
just
these getting called
all right.
octopuses.
So it was like a tween.
And this is on land.
This is on land.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
on a roadside in the mountains of Spain.
right.
Porto de Bazare.
Yes, as well pronounced as we can possibly
Yeah.
manage, the three of us.
Hairy teenage octopus.
Hairy
apparently.
teenage, surly and rebelling
3
against his
3 to 4
parents,
feet, yeah.
leaving the ocean and finding its way.
Okay.
So, the creature, as anything that's has headlights bearing down on it would, covered its round, glowing eyes with one of its 4 tentacle-like arms. So just 4 tentacles, not the usual 8 or 10 you might find on a squid.
And it had round glowing eyes.
Round, glowing eyes. Now, the glowing thing, in all fairness, a lot of creatures, when you hit it with a flashlight or headlights,
Exactly.
they have that reflective
Yes.
shine.
Yeah, they
so
bounce back.
I'm not necessarily thinking that this thing has like self-iridescent eyes.
Right.
Just that maybe it's reflecting, but who knows? So the creature remained immobile, seemingly caught in the glare of the truck's headlights. Neither the truckers nor the creature moved for what the men estimated to be several minutes. Fear finally got the best of Sanchez, and he ordered his associate to take the jackhammer out of the back of the truck to assault the bushy beast.
Wait a minute. So hold on.
I'm hoping that this is like a mistranslation from whatever
Jackhammer.
the Spanish account was to this, because it's kind of a dick move telling your partner to get out of a truck when there's a weird creature.
Right.
And B, it's even more of a dick move to have him just try to assail this creature when it's not doing
A
anything to you.
jackhammer, that's...
But a jackhammer is inexplicable.
I don't even know how you would attack something with a jackhammer
No,
unless
first
it's
of
laid
all,
down and you put it on top of it.
They're pretty fucking heavy, right?
Yeah,
So,
they're extremely heavy. And when you actually get them going, and you need to have them hooked up to compressed air.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
the-
it's an entire
yeah.
thing
It's
to
a
get them hooked up.
process.
they
Yeah.
are not a piercing weapon.
No, not at all.
No, it's at best the worst bludgeoning weapon ever conceived by man.
Who am I thinking of, though? I'm thinking of an image in my head. Is it Wesley Snipes? Did he have like a... am I thinking Demolition Man and getting them mixed up here?
You have
Wait,
to
no,
know.
someone
did he have a jackhammer gun
Yeah,
or
like somebody
something?
had like a jackhammer and they were like using it as a weapon.
I am no expert on
I,
Batman
I think
film.
I'm crossing two things in my mind here. But okay, so dude tells his buddy, "Hey, get out of the truck, get the jackhammer, and go after that thing."
Yeah.
Okay, all right, weird, but
His buddy wisely refused this command.
smart. Yeah, terrible friend,
No,
smart
a
dude.
horrible friend, a horrible thing
Oh
to
my
do.
God.
It was then that Sanchez made his move. He threw his truck into reverse, then drove straight toward the defenseless thing, stopping mere feet away from this enigmatic and possibly extraterrestrial entity. So he just drives at it and stops, like an '80s bully dick move.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
all. That's all I can say.
All right, so
But why even, like, it didn't do a threatening...
Yeah, it
No,
just covered
it's-
its eyes.
It's sitting
they
there.
saw it and they're like, oh, fuck that shit. Let's jackhammer
Not
it.
even they. Let's give
All right,
the
well,
unnamed passenger
Archimedes
a
was like, look,
pass. Archimedes is being a complete.
I was
douchebag.
going to invent some math because my name says I have to. Or be a warrior. One of those. Warrior or
Adventure,
math.
yeah.
But I'm not. I'm being a dick inside.
Yeah, like this just seems kind of. I mean, okay, granted, I'm not there in the situation. I'm sure if Chris and I and you were there too, and we're all riding in the truck, and we got the jackhammers in the back, and we see this thing. I mean,
Jackhammers.
maybe the first instinct is to like run it over or try to run it over, because
All right.
I mean, it's not coming at you.
Let's honestly do this for a second.
Okay.
Let's put ourselves in their place now.
Okay.
Accounting for the fact that it was 1961, so there were no cell phones, and they probably didn't have a Super 8 camera on them.
Right.
If the three of us were on the road in the Basque Mountains or wherever, and we happened upon a hairy octopus-like creature with big round eyes standing by the side of the road,
Okay.
I think we would
book.
We would probably book. We would stop and study it for a little bit. I would say
I don't know if
that
you
no
would,
one's going to believe us unless we have a body. I certainly would not recommend killing it because that is just a dick move. You don't know if it's the only one of its kind.
If you're
you
not
don't know
expecting
if it's got
it.
friends. Like, what if a pile of these things like rush over the embankment and swamp you? You don't know.
You don't want to try to trap it, though.
I don't want to try to trap it. I do want to study it. I might try to make a quick sketch on a napkin or whatever's in the car.
Well, okay. Well, first of all, I think the most important factor is
I'm an artist, damn it.
Let me draw you.
when it pops out, how close are we to it?
Yeah, does this say in here how close are Archimedes?
They don't specifically say. They come around
that's
the
a big
corner.
factor.
They see this thing on the other embankment, but they get pretty damn close to it when Archimedes is being a dickbag.
Right, but the first
and multiple times.
Right.
He doesn't just do this once. It turns out he accelerates towards it multiple times, then backs up.
Okay.
And this thing just can't. It's trying to struggle up the embankment. It can't make it because it's a steep embankment, and maybe its limbs just weren't meant for climbing.
Okay.
So this thing seems to be trying to get away. Archimedes doesn't want to kill it, in all fairness. But he certainly wants to put the fear of God into it.
playing chicken
With the Octo-Squatch. And then it's basically a stalemate.
I mean, generally, when I see something in the road that I don't know what it is, I don't want to hit it with my car.
No.
I generally stop and wait. I'm like, is it a deer? Is it a Sasquatch?
Well, what is he expecting it to do?
Well,
That's the other thing.
Is it gonna attack him?
What is Archimedes Sanchez fully... Is he expecting this thing to jump up on the windshield, suckers ahoy, and just try to get in?
Oh, terrible.
Is he expecting it to run away in sheer terror and he can manly brag to all the ladies in his village that he scared him a beast?
A beast.
I don't know what his agenda is.
It didn't give him a reason to try to go after it. It wasn't being hostile. He just kind of like...
No, it's just kind of doing its thing, and it's just like, oh, fuck that thing.
And the poor thing can't get up the embankment. It's just stuck. I just imagine it's trying to climb, and it keeps like falling down,
wobbly
sliding with
tentacle
rocks.
arms.
You know, I picture as one of those toy sticky octopuses,
right? Yeah,
like when they get all full of hair and they're just kind of
nastiness.
Like,
yeah, they hit a carpet and they're done.
That's what I picture.
And I mean, and then of course, back to he tells his friend to get the jackhammer, which again is just bizarre because you got to actually connect that into like compressed air.
I cannot believe that's an accurate translation.
Or it definitely has to be on a compressor. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive.
Maybe it's just like a portable baby one.
A portable baby jackhammer?
Yeah, just
maybe.
Maybe it was a box
just
of ball peen hammers, and we just have the wrong translation.
Even then, I mean, you'd have to go over, kick the thing to the ground, put the jackhammer on top of it, and then
I don't know what you
like.
or is it a jackhammer that has no air pump and just hit it really hard with a heavy object?
It just seems like you would. I don't know.
Seems like a bad plan.
He just seems kind of hostile for really no reason in the world.
But in all fairness, now let me play.
But he's scared.
Let me play Octo-Squatch advocate here. And it seems like a defenseless, hairy, 3 to 4 foot tall, semi-octopoid. But this thing could be deadly as the Dickens.
It could be.
I mean, we don't know. This thing could be full of like venom and hate, and for all we know, Archimedes' instincts were absolutely correct. He just doesn't have the documentation to back it up.
Yeah, but like that's like if you see if you turn somewhere, if you're walking somewhere and you see a fucking cobra.
Fair enough.
You know.
Yeah.
You know what a cobra can do.
Yeah. So I mean, not that you know what this thing, but like
I'm not going to tell Chris to get the jackhammer and attack
First of all,
it.
keep your distance. Let it do what it's got to do.
And get the hell away from it.
If all of a sudden it gets on like hind legs and starts breathing fire and yells your name,
roaring,
then fucking buck.
Chris!
Yeah, I don't know why it sounds like that, but
that's how a cobra talks.
If it talked, that's how it would talk. But I'm not defending Sanchez's reaction, by the way. Just playing devil's advocate. Maybe he just had that instinctive thing that some human beings get when they know they're in mortal danger.
He's terrified he has to destroy the thing.
But then it also might just be the typical moronic human instinct to do what Chris just said. Destroy the thing that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Which just, I mean, maybe I'm not on that wavelength, but I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I'm like, destroy the thing I do not understand.
Yeah, but you've never seen something like this.
No,
not understand, but it's fear.
Okay, yeah, but even
just something
fear,
you don't understand
like
is going to make
I guess my fight or flight kicks in and I flight. I'm like, see ya.
That's what I'm saying. That's probably why if we saw it, we'd probably blow.
Like every time I see a raccoon,
what was that?
I bail.
But if we were in
and I know it's a raccoon, but I'm like, see ya.
If we were in the safety of a jackhammer transporting truck, I think we would stop and look at it for a while.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we would want to know because we would know that this was something absolutely unique and that we had
you'd have to
commit it to memory.
Like if it's kind of moving slow and looks like it's not going to just
dart at you.
Yeah,
Right,
then
right.
maybe it'd be like, all right, let's get up there and see.
I don't know if I'd get out. I don't know. It would take a lot for me to get out of the truck.
Like if
a
you-
lot.
Yeah.
No, it would, but I mean, at least we would probably pull up to it.
Sure.
If we saw like a tornado of Tasmanian devil and noises, we'd be like, we're
Oh, no,
leaving.
yeah.
There's just
Goodbye.
no even, yeah. But like a slow thing, like that you can see where physics is a thing and you could discern that it's not going to just sprout wings and fly.
True.
You know what I mean? Like,
Then your curiosity takes over and
yeah, you
hopefully
want to
usurps
investigate
your
it.
fear.
Yeah.
So, was there any other sightings of this creature?
There were none.
Oh, really? Oh, there were none.
That
Oh,
was the wrong
There
way to
were.
say it.
Yeah,
There were
none. Okay, so
absolutely none.
So this is just Archimedes.
This is
We're taking his
Archimedes, his buddy. They played chicken with this thing for a while, and then eventually realized it was close to midnight. They were there about an hour watching this thing, and this thing apparently had no recourse to escape. And I'm sure they didn't get exactly bored, but they finally realized we have a job to do. We have to get home.
All right.
And they just left it.
Okay.
But there is one other amendum to this, or addendum, or I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, addendum.
That while they were playing chicken with the Octo-Squatch, another truck apparently barreled by. But according to Sanchez and his friend, it went by so fast that they couldn't tell if the thing noticed the Octo-Squatch or not. And on top of that, it didn't even slow down. So you'd assume that if it saw what they were looking at, the person driving that truck would have at least been curious enough to slow down. It didn't.
So
it just barreled past.
So it could be a ghost.
It could be
Chris
an
has his ghost face
Octo-Squatch.
on.
Yeah.
Is it a ghost?
Ecto.
Well, I guess that's the next big question: is are we talking about something that's
It's not a ghost.
extraterrestrial or terrestrial?
That is a good question. There are no UFO sightings in the area that at least were reported. Doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Okay.
When you hear about something as anomalous as this, of course, my instinct is always to say, were there any UFO sightings? Were there any weird other things that went on? Because this thing doesn't have a biological partner. Like
Right.
there's no like mollusk type things that live primarily on the land like that. At least not near the water, and they're not hairy. And they're not in the mountains of Spain usually, and have no ability to climb small hills. So you think maybe it is an extraterrestrial. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a weird genetic mutant. Maybe, who knows?
Because I can't think of anything in the natural world that would even be close to this.
Yeah,
And the fact that there's just one sighting that kind of corroborates the theory that it might be extraterrestrial, because you'd think if these things were living in that area, they'd have to have a breeding population, and more than one would have been seen.
Yeah,
But that's not the case.
Well, what could be trying to scale an embankment that could possibly even look like an octopus, or has something?
Why did the Octo-Squatch cross the road?
Tentacle.
No, it's true. I can't think of anything comparable.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. I don't. I mean, I'm not like an expert on Spanish fauna, but I have no idea what has. Well, it's four-legged, so I mean that's pretty standard. But
bear, you'd think because of the size of this thing, you'd think a bear. But how do you mistake a bear for an octopus?
I don't think
covered
you
in
do.
hair? You really can't.
no,
Yeah,
no.
but I'm just saying size-wise, bear.
No, well, 3 to 4 foot.
For a bear?
I mean,
Yeah, totally.
it fits within bear range, but nothing
Well,
else
lots of
besides
size
hair
does, but-
besides hair and 4 legs. But they said tentacle-like, and
Yeah,
bears
that's-
aren't usually
well,
like
I know
covering
that's the other
eyes.
weird
Yeah.
thing too. Like
Yeah.
just four.
So I'm just curious, like
tentacles.
so Sanchez and his jackhammer wielding buddy here, or thankfully the one that didn't wield the jackhammer, who did they report this to?
That's a good question.
They were just like, here's our
I
story.
know it was eventually found out by a local. This is interesting. I think UFO investigative body.
Oh,
that ended
really?
up reporting it to a larger chapter, and then I think the incident got reported out in an international sort of chronicle of bizarre sightings that happened, where they lump in weird humanoid sightings, sometimes Bigfoot type things, sometimes Octo-Squatch type things, into the greater sighting of extraterrestrials and whatever else has happened during the course of that year.
So I almost wonder if by default this has to be listed as an extraterrestrial.
I don't know.
Because I mean, what?
I would put it under. I think on Cryptopia, our website, it's under Lover's Lane, because anything that happens on a road, I tend to tuck in that. But really, it's unclassified.
Okay.
It's unclassified.
It is.
Purely.
Yeah.
Because you can't jump to that conclusion just because it's that weird.
No.
Yeah, no, I guess you can. I'm trying to see my problem here that I'm learning with hosting this podcast is I'm trying to put things into a box.
Well, I'm
trying to get reason and understanding for these creatures. And you know what? You can't put Octo-Squatch in a box.
You cannot. You can try.
You can't.
First of all, have a jackhammer,
3 to 4 feet tall,
and a willing partner.
I know.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
You can't put it in a box. It just is what it is.
Don't put Octo-Squatch in a box. Nobody puts Octo-Squatch in the corner.
I was waiting for you to make
Octo-Spotch. Spotch to Motch.
I know, Spotch.
Ictus-Mitch. So anyway, it's fucking weird.
Yeah,
and
that's
lovable because goddamn it, you want a plush version.
I do.
Oh,
totally. Big-eyed.
Yeah, totally.
It would look sort of like I don't know, Hedorah, the Godzilla monster, but with delightfully soft fur rather than, lumpy mounds of pollution.
Yeah, and 4 tentacles.
So if it has 4 tentacles, and then it has legs.
Absolutely.
So this thing is standing up with regular bipedal legs.
Oh no! I think it's standing on its tentacles. I don't think it's like the Rick Baker created Octoman suit of great infamy and total joy for me, where it's walking on 2 legs, it's clearly bipedal, and then has a ridiculous amount of tentacles coming out of its torso.
Is that the image that's on Cryptopia.us?
It might be.
I think it is, yeah.
Criminy knows at
and
this
it's
point.
not really an Octo-Squatch if it's only got 4 tentacles.
I mean,
that's a Quattro-Squatch.
The Quattro. That almost sounds deadlier.
Because, there's only 4, so it can't be.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Okay, so...
Mathematically speaking.
And so Chris has shamed me who nameth the Octo-Squatch.
The author
with authenticity and facts.
The author of the article has just been snoped by Chris.
Well, that's the thing. When you write articles, you have to name
it looks like an
things.
octopus, but it's got 4. So what you do want to call an octopus? Because no one's going to know what a fucking Quattro-Squatch means.
It's true.
Yeah, but Quattro-Squatch sounds cool.
I'm going to keep Octo-Squatch. God damn it.
Call it the Octo-Quattro-Squatch.
The
Octo-Quattro-Squatch.
That's confusing.
Oh, that sounds cool.
I'm telling you, though, if somebody out there wants to make stuffed, and I'm sure there are stuffed cryptids out there, and I'm sure people have done it, but the Octo-Squatch is just clamoring to be adapted to plush form.
Yeah.
Children will snuggle with this thing. No one's going to try to hit it with a jackhammer in my house. It's going to be safe on every roadside from now on.
Could it really have been an octopus?
How could it have been?
I mean,
Rob, I don't know. I'm asking.
It would have drowned in the air, right?
Dude, a lot of things in the sea can deal on land.
An octopus can escape from its aquarium, crawl across, say, a floor, crawl into another aquarium, eat the fish, and then return.
Right.
They're super intelligent. They're super crafty at escaping.
Yeah.
I don't know where the nearest body of salt water is to this area.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know why it would be hairy or have only 4 tentacles.
Who knows?
They get one ping. I highly doubt it's an octopus or any variety.
Like an actually real octopus.
An actual
Let's say
real.
that it was
for some reason, it's trying to get somewhere up a hill.
I mean, if for some reason it was an octopus and it was on land, I'm sure it's all wet and sticky and weird, so it's probably collecting debris. As it's
all right, so let's take this to the max.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
It's got bramble and pine cones on it.
Well, it's got a ghillie suit, basically.
It was run over by a Vespa earlier, so it lost 4 of its legs.
Don't assume conifers aren't involved.
It's got various types of debris and foliage on it.
It could be seaweed.
Yeah, totally.
And it just wants to go home, damn it.
Yeah, and it's trying to it needs its sweet salt water home, and it can't get there because it's trying to climb up this embankment
to the ocean, which is just on the other side in this imaginary scenario.
You know it's going in the wrong direction. It just has, and it's just facing death.
It got hit by a boat. It's like, it got fucked up.
It got hit by a boat.
All right, so our rational explanation makes every bit as much sense as the weirdness of the reality.
Well, I mean, look, man, I said extraterrestrial. It could have very well it could be some alien stowaway. It could have just popped up somewhere, been dropped in a ship, or maybe the whole Earth. It's the theory that Earth is actually like a prison planet for like aliens.
I've heard that theory.
They drop off their that's what Sasquatch is.
Or is that
more detail? Not maybe it's a U.S. No, the water not water UFOs, but
a USO.
It could be USO.
Yeah.
Not in of itself, but it could be fucking like the abyss.
I mean, okay, the Earth prison planet is a stretch to say the least, but there are reports of unidentified crafts in the water, which maybe this could be some form of creature from one of these crafts.
I don't necessarily think that this thing has to come from a USO just because it vaguely resembles an octopus.
No, I know.
If it's an alien, it's a fucking alien.
Again, we're trying to put the Octo-Squatch.
Not an alien. It could be indigenous completely.
We're trying to put the Quattro-Squatch
so you mean like
in the box.
Creatures that evolved under the oceans coincidentally with the human race and developed technology far in advance of the human race.
Super deep. For some reason, they got hair underwater.
You need it. It gets cold.
Yeah, it does.
Underwater's chilly.
Or maybe they started on land and then it went to the water, but they haven't evolved enough to get rid of that fucking hair.
Could be a fashion statement.
And I think we're going to have to leave it at that.
I think we are, because there is literally no actual place to take the Octo or Quattro-Squatch. Okay, cool. That's an interesting.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's an interesting creature. It's an interesting sighting. Then, of course, with a lot of these sightings that we have, you do have to take into account that the person might not necessarily be the most reputable person. There could be the influence of alcohol or drugs.
But the fact that there's two witnesses, granted one of them anonymous,
true,
implies more legitimacy to me than it does a solo witness.
True.
I feel bad for people that are all alone when they see something because
it sucks.
Their reputation is screwed.
Yeah.
Well, then again, too, having the two guys that could cooperate together and be like, hey, guess what? We saw a fucking hairy octopus squatch.
And then you also have to think, I mean, when people try to sell their deal, when they become like the Lutzes after Amityville, where there's a very legitimate idea that they did everything they did just to turn a profit. When people don't turn any noticeable profit, when one of them wants to stay anonymous, when the only thing they really stand to gain is ridicule, I'm not saying that it means that they're definitely not liars and that it's 100% legit.
No, but what's the point?
Exactly. What's the point?
Right.
It keeps my mind open to the possibility that just like so many other people, they really saw something unknown, had the courage to share it, even if they ended up regretting it. And now it's just out there in the ether, and we pick it up and expose other people to it.
That's why these stories, if you allude back to the
frogmen.
The frogmen.
Yeah.
For me, the weirder they are, the more it lends credence.
I agree.
Because it just doesn't like.
No,
why would you just see frogs wearing jeans, fucking around with sparklers? It's not even the fourth. Get it together, frogmen. But still, I'm like,
see our previous pod on the frog.
Why even say? Why would you even say?
I
that?
guess
I agree.
no. You guys both have a point there, where the more ludicrous it is, maybe that is the more real it is.
Yeah,
in some
Kinda
ways,
lends
I'm with
more
Chris.
truth to it. When you see something
yeah.
completely ridiculous, that really it's almost so ridiculous you couldn't make it up. That maybe that does lend some more.
Well, it does. When someone
it.
says, "Well, I saw it had 4 legs, and it was kind of had some ears, kind of like cat, and it went away, and there's some eyes," I'm like,
"You saw a cat.
You saw a cat, yeah."
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
when someone says, like I said,
yeah, when they describe a Quattro-Squatch, you're like, that could be something.
like, yeah, why?
Okay.
Indeed.
All right. All right, well, cool. There you have it. There is the Octo-Squatch. Thanks for checking out the episode. As we mentioned in the beginning of the episode, please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast on iTunes. That is available right in the iTunes app and the Apple Podcast app as well. You can check us out there. We are available at cryptonautpodcast.com, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on YouTube. You can find us in all those places. So there you go. Thanks for joining us, and we're talking to you soon.
Later, dudes.
See ya.
Dudettes.
Deuterinos.